Hi guys, finally got the chance to make the video on manual mode. Quick thing, if you are a new subscriber or if you have not watched my videos on aperture, shutter speed and ISO, I highly recommend that you watch those three videos first before you watch this video on manual mode, otherwise you're going to be lost. Even if you have an idea of the aperture, shutter speed and ISO, I would still recommend you watch it because the way I explain it is it's slightly more in detail, so it would help you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the whole light meter works, because it's directly related to your manual mode. Okay, inside your camera there is a light meter. Okay, when you are taking pictures in aperture mode, that light meter basically calculates the light. Okay, so you pick the aperture, which is, let's say, 4. So based on that aperture, based on the light that is present in the room, the camera, there's a light meter in your camera that calculates all the light and tells the camera, alright, based on this setting and based on the present light, your shutter speed should be this fast. Okay? And same thing with your shutter priority mode. Based on the shutter speed you pick, the camera basically picks the aperture for you. Okay? Now, in manual mode, it's exactly the same thing. You are still using a light meter that's going to calculate the light for you. The difference is that the camera will not pick the correct setting for you. You have to physically move these dials to get to that correct exposure. I will teach you how to read that light meter, which is inside your viewfinder. Okay? So that's the basic stuff. This is how the light meter works. When you press this button halfway through, there's light bouncing everywhere. It goes through the lens, and the camera basically looks at the aperture, looks at the ISO, and looks at the shutter speed. This is all manual stuff I'm talking about. Okay? Based on these 3 settings, the camera basically says, okay, you're going to be underexposed or you're going to be overexposed. So when you look at your light meter inside the viewfinder, there's a bar. Okay, you have your 0 in the middle, and sometimes it's a triangle kind of thing. So as long as you're in the middle, that's your correct exposure. If you're going to be on the negative side, that means your picture is going to be slightly underexposed. Well, depend how far you are. It could be really underexposed. And if you are on the positive side, that means your picture is going to be overexposed. So all you have to do is basically get that light meter in the middle, and I will show you in the next part how to read it, and simply just changing your shutter speed and aperture, you can control that. Keep one thing in mind, that camera light meter can be fooled. Okay, it's correct, it's accurate for the most part. I want to say 7 out of 10 times. Again, it all depends on the lighting situation as well. If the lighting situation is a little tricky, a little complicated, the light meter can easily be fooled. In another video, I'm going to show you how to basically improvise and get the correct exposure if your light meter is being fooled. So that's basically it. Let's watch the video and we'll look at some sample pictures. So this is the camera setup I have right now. I'm going to try to photograph this leaf here and see if I could read the light meter from here. I hope I don't get any glare. Alright, this looks good. Alright, good. Alright, so look inside the viewfinder. Well, first of all, my ISO is at 100. Why? Because there's plenty of light. I'm shooting this during daytime. I don't need to increase my ISO. I want to take the picture at f2. It's in manual mode right now, and the shutter speed is at 1/80th of a second. You can see that on the far left side. Okay, now look right next to your aperture, f2. There's a graph there. It says plus and it says minus, and right in the middle it says 0. Right? This graph could be on your right side, left side. It all depends on what camera you're using. Anyway, and look how the graph is also changing as the lighting is changing, like with the clouds and everything. Anyway, right now the camera is telling me that at this setting your picture is going to be overexposed because, hold on one second, there you go, it's a better close-up, because it's on the plus side. So whenever you have a plus side, the camera meter is telling you, the light meter is telling you that it's going to be overexposed. So let's see if the picture is going to be overexposed or not. Okay, let me just wait for the wind to stop and I'll take a picture. Alright, so here's a picture. Now let's change our setting. Now it's overexposed, so how do we correct this? Well, there are two ways to correct this. We can change our f-stop. Hold on, right here. As I'm increasing the f number, the aperture is shrinking, and that means there's less light coming in. Look at it's 0. But the thing is, I don't want to take my picture at 3.2. What if you want to take the picture at f2? So let's go back to f2 again. So instead of changing the aperture, like if you want to stick with your aperture, well, you can always change your shutter speed. So I'm gonna change my shutter speed until I get the 0. I get the bar on where it says 0. All right, so now the camera is telling me that at 1/60th of a second you'll get a correct exposure. Now it's changing a little, hold on. There you go, 200th a second, and we're good. This is what the picture looks like at 200th of a second. Let's underexpose the picture and see. So the camera is saying at 4.5 your picture is going to be underexposed. It's going to be dark. So let's see if it's true. And this is what the picture looks like at 4.5. So as you can see, it's very simple to play with this thing. You just have to remember that when you are in manual mode, you have to pay attention to your light meter all the time. Now, it's not going to change dramatically from one spot to another spot unless one area is like shaded and the other area there's direct sunlight. But for the most part, this is going to be good. Now in another video, I'm going to teach you guys how to get the exposure that you're looking for, because the light meter may not be 100% accurate every single time. In that case, you have to, as a photographer, you have to think logically and pretty much improvise. Alright, so that was it. That was your manual exposure. There are going to be multiple videos on this though. There's going to be one where I'm going to teach you how to, when your light meter is being fooled, how to adjust and get the correct exposure that you want. And there's going to be another manual exposure video in which we will be using flash. So there's another element we will be adding to our exposure. Very, very easy. So stay tuned for that. Quick shout out to Jeff Raw. Thanks, man, for sending me this sling. I have a strap that I use. It's a knockoff strap for Black Rapid. Black Rapid costs like at least $80 plus. I got this on eBay for $6, so I'll use this with my video camera. So I appreciate it. Thanks, man.